Once again, welcome everyone also from my side to this amazing conference that David has put together. David and I, we've been doing these presentations. I've been doing this presentation with David's group for a long, long time now. I think it must have been like 4 or 5 years perhaps. So thanks, David, for putting this together. And I think it's really, really topical and relevant because we are heading, believe it or not, into 2025. Time flies. Boy, 2024 is almost over. So what better reason to have a conference on what matters for 2025? And what I thought could be interesting is to see which tools may have the power to give you the insights that you need to trade in 2025. And my subtitle here is Enhance Your Trading with Liquidity Zones. This already gives a little bit away of what the key tool that I'll present to you today is able to do. It is able to identify something that's called liquidity zones. So sounds a bit cryptic. We're going to ease into this topic. And what we noticed, and this dates back maybe to 2023, but it is super relevant today, and it will be relevant for 2025 as well, is that every single chart has what we call landmarks. It doesn't matter what chart it is. It could be a 5-minute chart. It could be a 30-minute chart, a daily chart. It could be a stock chart, a futures chart, a crypto chart. Every single chart has what we call landmarks. These are special levels of price to which, or special zones of price to which, price will react in a certain interesting way. And if we can find these landmarks, we can identify and confirm interesting trade setups in the process. I know this sounds very high level, so let's become very concrete. So let's have a look at this chart here. This is a naked chart of the NASDAQ, micro NASDAQ futures on the 5-minute time frame. Just by looking at this chart, you might be a bit perplexed. Okay, what do we actually see here? How could you, hindsight is 2020, but how could you have traded this perhaps back here or back there or wherever you may be? I think it's really hard to see just by looking at the naked chart. Nothing concrete comes to mind, at least not to me, when I look at this chart. But let me, enhance this chart a little bit. So now, I applied something to the chart, and now we can see these lines on the chart. And, just by having these levels or zones on your chart, I believe things are becoming a little bit clearer. For example, here we could see, okay, price went down here. This red level could be considered as a support level. Yeah, price is bouncing off from it. And price goes up here. And this is a very recent chart. This is from Friday, I believe, heading into today. So then price went up here into this green line, and this is considered a resistance level. And what happens? It bounced off from it back to support down here, which was drawn all the way from back in the day here. These lines have not been painted after the fact. Actually, they have been painted before the fact. So the price went down here, bounced off again, back to resistance, bounced off again. Eventually, support here was broken, and then we have a huge follow through. And I believe just by having knowledge of these levels, things will become a little bit clearer for you and also for me as a trader. And being able to go from this naked chart to a chart which has these key levels, these landmarks as we call them, on your chart can make all the difference, because we believe having knowledge of these landmarks will set the playing field on your chart. It doesn't matter if you have your own proprietary trading strategy that you're using with your own indicators and whatever. It doesn't matter whether you perhaps use some built-in indicators to find entry signals. Being aware of these levels can make all the difference, because they will help you to qualify a trade, to confirm a trade that you may have in mind, or perhaps to disqualify a trade. These levels will also help you to find out where is a logical level for my stop loss. Where is a logical level for my take profit target? This is so important. This is why we believe that having knowledge of these levels can make all the difference, because then you know what the playing field is. You know what is going on your chart. You know what are the current market conditions for the chart and time frame that you have in mind. All right, so this was my intro. But before we really get into this topic and which really interesting trade setups you can find in the process, let me, I think it's polite, let me quickly introduce myself. So my name is Daniel Sinnig, and as David mentioned, I am with TradingIndicators.com. In fact, I'm the founder of TradingIndicators.com. And we've created trading indicators about 10 years ago. But guess what? Back in the day and when I was younger, this was not my career objective. In fact, it was quite different back in the day. My objective in life was to become a professor in software engineering. So I went through all the levels. I did my master's, my PhD, my postdoc in software engineering. I started teaching at various universities in and around Montreal. This is where we are based out of from. But you know what? During all these years, I was always fascinated by the world of finance and trading. So I started trading on the side. And as you start off, and many of us do, you make mistakes. And so did I. So I revenge traded. I took too much risk, of course. I traded when market conditions were not right. Um, and, after donating quite a bit of money to the markets, I came to the hard realization, oh boy, trading is not as straightforward as I thought, and I need help. And for me, needing help meant I need better tools which help me make better trading decisions. So I rolled up my sleeves and I started coding. And the very first tools that I have written, they were purely for my own purpose. But once I realized, hey, these tools are actually helpful. They are helping me make better trading decisions. I then decide, hey, let's make them available to the public. And this is really how the story behind TradingIndicators.com started, which now has become an online store where we present our flagship indicators, our key indicators. And over the years, we've also grown. Some of the key players are here. So I'm the guy here on the left-hand side. My name is Daniel. Together with Homer, my partner in crime, we have created trading indicators from the ground up. And believe it or not, Homer and I, we actually go back more than 20 years. We met in the same research lab. She was doing her PhD at the time. I was doing my master's. And we're stuck in the same windowless lab for many, many years. And I guess this was kind of a bonding experience, which, then motivated us to create this business together. And we also have Nicholas with us here on board. He's actually in the chat today, looking out for your questions. And he is the mastermind, our quant, behind many of our latest innovations, including the indicator, which I will present to you today. Most of what we do is based on what is called technical analysis, which is basically a pattern analysis of your price chart. We believe that fundamental information is almost immediately priced in. And by analyzing your price chart, you will indirectly also take into account fundamental information. We also believe that trading should be simple, and trading is simple, but you need to know what to look for. And here's the kicker, you need to use the right tools. And this webinar, this presentation is all about this. I'm going to show you which tool I believe can be a difference maker heading into 2024. And one more thing before we get into this topic, if you have any questions, please don't be shy. Put your questions into Zoom, into your chat window in Zoom, and Nicholas will look out for your questions. And the more the merrier. There are no bad questions. There are only bad answers, as you know. So please make this as interactive as possible. If you have any symbols in mind, we're going to look at lots of charts today. Please put them in there. I'll be happy to review these on the fly with you. All right. And just one more thing. Of course, keep in mind that trading does contain substantial risk and therefore is not suited for every investor. If you trade, make sure to only use risk capital, which is capital that you actually can't afford to lose. When it comes to backtest performance or hypothetical performance, keep in mind that this is not necessarily indicative of future performance, and any trade ideas and setups discussed in this webinar should not be construed as trade advice. These are for educational purposes only. All right, so with the lawyers being happy now as well, let's get into it. So charts can be quite unpredictable, as you may know. So here we have an example of this where an uptrend, for example, quickly reverses into a downtrend and then reverses right again into an uptrend and so forth. So there's seemingly no discernible pattern on your price chart. And things get even worse if you are on these smaller time frames. So here an example of a 5-minute chart where, up, down, there's really nothing, no discernible pattern on this chart. But this is your first takeaway, and this will become relevant today. Things tend to become a bit clearer when we zoom out, when we go to a higher time frame. For example, here, once we zoomed up to a 4-hour chart, you can see, okay, there are some trends which we can identify. There are some levels which we can identify. So please keep this in mind. Things tend to become a bit more clear once we zoom out. This is one of the fundamental principles of the tool, which I will show you today. All right, another fundamental principle, and I mentioned this at the very beginning, is that every single chart, I need to repeat this, every single chart has these landmarks. They are present on every chart, and price is reacting to these special levels of on the chart in a certain way. And if we can find these landmarks, we can also find interesting trade setups in the process. And oftentimes, these landmarks, they act as support and resistance zones. So I know this is a concept that you are all familiar with. So a support zone is a level of price where price may have difficulty going lower. Yeah, it might not be able to break this level to the downside. And likewise, a resistance zone is a level of price or a zone of price where price may have difficulty pushing through to the upside. This is a standard concept in technical analysis. And if we look back why that is, okay, oftentimes when we do have a support zone, what we can observe is that, big money buy orders, block orders are stepping in at these levels, driving price further up, preventing price from going further down. And this causes these swing points, these swing lows on your price chart. This is exactly what happens. Big orders, buy orders are stepping in, preventing price from going further down. And it's the same way for our resistance levels. Big block sell orders are stepping in. They can be found in your order book. They're stepping in, preventing price from going further up. And this causes these swing highs on your chart. And these happen typically at resistance levels. Now, we as retail traders, with our small orders, we are not able to cause these price swings. That's impossible for us. We don't have the buying power. These are caused by the big institutions, the culprits, the big money traders. They have the buying power to create these price swings in the market. So while these big culprits, these institutions are calling the shots, we as retail traders, we can follow the patterns. Yeah, we can trade in the in the wake of these big orders and also profit in the process. And this is what we're trying to do today. And in fact, we have developed a tool which can identify these levels which are relevant for the big institutions and which may act as support and resistance going into the future. Because in trading, to some degree, it's all about forecasting what may happen in the future. An inherently difficult task, but it is possible to some extent by observing where the culprits, the big players, are placing their orders. Because these levels may act as support and resistance, and because the volume is so high in these levels, these are also sometimes known as liquidity zones. All right. Now, if we can find these levels, these zones, we can find promising trade setups in the process. For example, here's one of my favorite ones because it has high reward and low risk. I almost said resistance. High reward and low risk because this is the bounce trade. So a bounce trade happens when price, as you can see it here very clearly, price is approaching this support level here, this reddish area. It's going near this level. And once it's here, you can perhaps predict that price may have difficulty penetrating this level to the downside. And instead, price will go, very nicely as shown here, in towards the middle between support and resistance up here. And I said this is a high reward and low risk trade. Why is that? Well, because if you enter into this trade around the center of the support zone, you can place your stop loss just below the support level because your interpretation your expectation, so to say, is that price will not be able to penetrate the zone to the downside and instead go upwards again. If your expectation is wrong, if your anticipation is wrong, well, then price will penetrate this level, and then you need to get out of this trade. But you can find out very quickly simply by observing whether price will actually go below this level. And if it does, you close out the trade. This is why you have your stop loss there. But the stop loss is very nearby. Low risk, high reward. Okay, so this is one trade. This is a trade which happens near a support level, or if price goes up, it could also happen near a resistance level where price might go to the downside again. All right, but of course, like everything in life, nothing lasts forever, unfortunately. Eventually, every support level will be broken, every resistance level will be broken. It's a matter of time. But this also presents an opportunity to us as traders, because once broken, oftentimes we see a very nice follow through in the direction of the breakout. So for example, here price eventually broke this support level, and look at the nice follow through in the process, down a bearish follow through. The same can happen when resistance is broken to the upside. We may see a nice follow through to the upside. And once again, a setup where we can place our stop loss just above this broken support level, and our target might be much further away. Another high reward and low risk setup. All right. And here is my personal favorite, the breakout retrace trade. Yet another setup that we can identify once we are aware where these key levels are. So here, resistance in this case is broken to the upside. Price initially goes up. You can see this very nicely here, but then it stopped. It retraced. And where did it retrace to? Well, it retraced back to the broken resistance level. And we have heard it all before. Resistance can become support, and support can become resistance. And this switch of roles happens when these levels are broken. So in this case, resistance is clearly broken to the upside. Price is all the way up here. It's been broken. And at this point, resistance will switch roles and will become support, preventing price oftentimes from moving below this level before the bullish move continues, the move in the direction of the breakout. And this is a setup which you can observe many, many times because it has this initial fake out. So the markets always try to trick you a little bit. And in this case, it tries to pick you out, making you believe, hey, this bullish move is over. Price is going down again. But oftentimes, this is just a logical retracement back to this support level, which was previously resistance before the actual move takes place. Another great opportunity to enter into the market, in this case long, with your stop loss just below this broken resistance level. All right, now lots of talking. The question, however, is how can we find these levels? I guess perhaps that's the question also that you have in your mind. How can we spot these zones? Well, guess what? We have developed an indicator specifically designed for this purpose, specifically designed to identify these key support and resistance levels on your price chart as soon as it is applied. And basically, what this indicator does, it does an instant technical analysis of your price chart, showing you exactly what are nearby support levels and what are nearby resistance levels, so that you can identify what are the current market conditions, where's price in relation to these levels, and you can then look for setups by purely using our indicator, or perhaps qualify some setups that you may have in mind using your own indicators. That's all possible. All right, now there was a lot of theory. I think it's time to switch over to some price charts and to see how this indicator actually works. So let me open up TradingView. All right, and guys, if you have questions, please don't be shy. So I'm going to drag on TradingView here, and we're going to start off with NQ, the NASDAQ E-mini futures on the 5-minute time frame. And what we can see here is a naked chart. So I'm going to go ahead and apply our indicator to this chart. So I'm going to click on this symbol here to visualize our liquidity IQ indicator. All right, so apply it, and right off the bat, you see these levels on the chart. All right, so you can see here these red lines. These are our support levels, and we can see here these the greenish ones are our resistance levels. Now, we are here on the 5-minute chart. All right, so and these levels are initially drawn based on this is the chart time frame. This is what happens when you apply the indicator to a particular chart. But who of you remembers what I mentioned at the very beginning when I said things tend to be a little bit clearer when you are on the higher time frames? Now, we have incorporated this concept into this indicator. And we have added a feature which allows you to tell the indicator, hey, instead of using the chart time frame as your base, as your reference time frame, use a higher time frame. And you will see, as soon as I do this, these levels will change and they will become more significant and more telling to us what may happen in the future. So let me go into the settings and enable this feature. So settings, you can see there are many, many features. We have a bootcamp discussing all this. Let's just focus on this one here, the reference time frame. So I'm going to switch this one from the chart time frame, which is the 5-minute, to the 30-minute time frame. And as soon as I do this, you will see that these levels on your chart will be changing. All right, so I'm going to go to 30. I click OK. This will take a second or two to recalculate, because actually what's going on inside is quite complex. So it takes a second to calculate. And you can see now, okay, these levels now changed. All right, and just by looking a little bit at this chart here, you can see they have become much more telling. These support levels and these resistance levels, they, at least to me, they seem to be more powerful. They seem to be holding up more often than they don't hold up. And this is because we were able to zoom out and now use the 30-minute time frame to calculate these levels, even though we are still seeing the 5-minute time frame here. So this is a feature which is so convenient because now you no longer need to have multiple charts open. You can see it all on one single chart. Remember, I said in the beginning, trading should be simple. This is one way to simplify your trading. Okay, so what do we see here? We see that, these resistance and support levels have held up quite nicely in the past, but eventually support was broken. And then, of course, we had this huge follow through all the way down here, and our price has been retracing. But where are we right now? Well, right now we're kind of in the middle of nowhere when it comes to NQ. We're kind of trading between support here and resistance up here. So how should we trade this? Well, we're going to get to this in a second. One more thing I need to show you. This indicator is an indicator designed to do a technical analysis of your price chart, but also an indicator designed to help you understand what's going on. And especially if you're new to using it, we have implemented a feature which we call mentor mode. So mentor mode is a feature which you can enable, and I believe it's enabled by default. And once enabled, it will actually annotate your price chart even further. So once this is recalculated, it will tell you, all right, the nearest support zone right now is at this level between 2,395 and 2,415. Yeah, the nearest resistance zone is all the way up here, and you see exactly the range of this zone. Also tells you, hey, all the way here, we had a zone break. Obviously, we can see it also nicely on the chart, but we did have a zone break, and once this happens, we may see a bit follow through. All right, now we can see, okay, we are kind of, in the middle of nowhere. All right, this doesn't have to be always the case, but in this case, we're kind of somewhat in the middle between support and resistance. And just by looking at this chart, my intuition would tell me, hey, we had this big bearish move, a bit of a retracement, which is normal after a big directional move, but it may not be over. And we may see yet another attempt towards this support zone here. If price actually goes towards the support zone, that could be a sign, okay, maybe we're going to see some retracement of this one. But this at least is my feel when I look at this chart. Because oftentimes these zones tend to have what we call magnetic properties. They're attracting price to it. Price will not stay in this no man's land forever. And momentum seems to be, even though we had some bullish momentum in the morning, seems to be still quite bearish since the hype about the elections. So that's at least is my prediction. All right, so let's move on. Let's go to a different chart. Bitcoin. Oh boy, what's going on with Bitcoin? So let me go open up Bitcoin. Oh my goodness. What a chart we have here, huh? Bitcoin did make all-time highs. Wednesday last week, it almost hit, hit 93,000 or 94,000. Retraced a lot, almost 10,000 points, down to 86. And we can see beautifully where it retraced to. Look at just here, exactly to our support level, almost to the T. And then up again, exactly to our resistance level, down again. That's been trading around resistance, and we finally now seem to be breaking this level, even though there is still quite a bit of hesitation going on. So right now, price is in fact trading still around this levels. There's no clear-cut move, and this is a sign to you, hey, this level is being contested. Something is going on around this level, around the 92,000 mark of Bitcoin. So if you ask me, how should you trade this? Right now, it's tough to say. I would like to see a decisive move either above this level. If so, then this next level here is definitely in play, and we may see all-time highs. If we bounce off again to the downside, well, then I believe the next logical level to the downside would be the support zone down here, because these have magnetic properties. But we want to see a decisive move first, either above or below, because right now, this seems to be highly contested. All right. So, but let's change it up one more time. Let me go to gold. All right. So here we have gold, and gold is interesting. And people, if you were long gold in the last couple of months, you must be very happy. But then, of course, we did have, and this was, lots of experts have talked about this. There must be a retracement in gold coming up anytime soon. Gold has been so overextended over the last weeks and months. It needs to be coming. It's just a question of when, not if it's coming. And this is exactly what we saw in the aftermath of the election. Finally, gold retraced. We saw a big bearish move here. And now gold is rebouncing a little bit. And one thing that is interesting here, and I put this up for a reason, gold was approaching this level here. Do you see this resistance level? And look what's happening. And this is just happening right now in real time. I saw this chart. This is the 30-minute chart, perhaps an hour ago. But gold went up all the way towards this resistance levels. But now it seems that it's going to turn around again because resistance is acting up as resistance. But you may ask a very valid question. What should I, if price is approaching this resistance level, should I really bet on the fact that it's going downwards, or perhaps will it move upwards again? Good question. And for this, we have actually implemented an indicator which will help you to confirm the setup that you may have in mind. Because here you may say, okay, this is going to bounce to the downside. Well, let's see. And this indicator is called MA Rush. Let me just quickly enable it on your price chart. Bang. So this one does exactly this. And actually, this indicator by itself is quite something, because it tells you what is the current trend of the market. So here we can see that a bullish move is replaced by a bearish move, and then replaced by a bullish move. And oftentimes these levels by itself, that's all the indicator does. It shows you these levels: bullish, bearish, bullish. Oftentimes, these sentiment readings can be quite telling, because the indicator is very conservative in finding these sentiments. And this can be used as an additional confirmation to whatever setup you may have in mind. So here, let's just see how this could play out here. Gold is approaching this resistance level. And the question is, okay, may we see a sustained move to the downside since gold is approaching it? And the answer is maybe, of course. Uh, why? Because MA Rush, our other indicator, just turned into bullish sentiment. This could be an indication that, hey, we may have some very minor retracements here at this resistance levels, but eventually this may be broken to the upside. And a zone break, a resistance zone break, may be in the books. So I would be careful to actually trade or enter a long trade here, or a short trade here, anticipating the bounce of this level, because it's not confirmed by what this other indicator, our MA Rush indicator, tells you. And if you just go back a little bit, it is quite conservative with its reading. So a bearish move lasts for quite some time to become a bullish move, which lasts quite some time to become bearish again. It withstands all these, drawbacks here. So now, finally, we had this long bearish move being replaced by a bullish one. And it is not unlikely that this can be a sustained move to the upside. And from this point of view, perhaps this bounce move will be restricted or limited in its dimension, and we may see in the near future a break of this resistance level to the upside. And if it does, the next logical level will be all the way up here at 2,718. So let's see what happens later on today. All right. Okay, so let's have a look at, what should we look at? Let's look at ES. All right. And Nicholas, if there are any questions, please, point them out to me. If there are any symbol requests, I'd be happy to answer some of those.
Yeah, Daniel, we actually had one symbol request.
Okay.
It was for, not sure the time frame, but it was for NVIDIA.
Oh yeah, we're going to get to stocks in just a bit. So we're going to keep this one for a bit later in this presentation. Okay, so what do we have here? So once again, we have our indicators applied to the chart. We can see that price, MA Rush switched to bearish just around here. Then we have this huge follow through to the downside. Price since then has been retracing off this support level to the upside, but we still have bearish sentiment. And to me, you know what? If I had to place a bet in a casino where price will go next, I would imagine price will retest this support level here. This bearish move is not over yet. This could be just a retracement within this downtrend which just started, and we may see further downside action. And if you zoom out a little bit to the SPY indicator, we can see here, all right, we are here on the 4-hour time frame. SPY ETF price, of course, made all-time highs. Resistance was broken. You can see it here, and then we gap down towards this broken resistance level, which is now acting as support. But if you look at this chart a bit closer, the gap here, which we had since the election, this one has not been filled yet. And I believe it is not impossible that we may see further downside action to at least fill this gap towards this resistance zone, which was created here. And if I were to switch to the, let me just quickly see which time frame I have enabled here. If I switch this over to the daily time frame, let's go here real quick and switch our liquidity IQ indicator to the chart time frame, we can probably see that, hey, we broke, let me just see until this calculates here. Okay, yeah, we broke above resistance in September, then retraced almost to the dot to the broken resistance level, now acting as support. Another retracement to this broken level, and now we're trading far away from resistance. And from this point of view, I don't think it's outside the realm of what you can imagine is that price will fill this gap all the way down here, once again approaching this resistance level, which is now acting as support. So I don't think it's impossible. If we see this gap fill, I believe eventually we're going to see more upside action, but I would be careful to enter long in the S&P 500s quite yet. I still believe it's very bullish, but we may see some additional downside correction, even though today opened up bullish. This may be short-lived. We may see some downside action towards this key resistance level here. And as long as this one holds up, this resistance level, I believe we are very bullish. If it gets broken, well, then our next logical level would be all the way down here at this key support level at 508. I guess the next weeks will show what the market will do. All right. Before I go back to the slides, I want to show you one last key feature of our liquidity IQ indicator. So if we go here to the settings one more time and we scroll down to all the way down, you can see there are lots of settings to this one here, show setup box. Once enabled, the indicator will actually point out to you directly on your price chart as soon as this is recalculated, what is the current setup at play. So it's recalculating, and you can see this box here. It tells you, okay, right now we are in a long break situation, meaning we are trading on this chart, on the daily chart of the SPY, we are trading above resistance. Resistance has been broken to the upside. There is no other resistance level above. We have blue skies ahead, and we are in a long break situation. That's what the indicator tells you on the daily time frame. And just by looking at this, this confirms that, hey, the SPY is very bullish. We had a bit of a retracement, but this doesn't change the overall sentiment. We are still trading above this resistance level. And as long as this one holds up, even though we may see a further retracement to fill this gap here, we are still very bullish. So this is something that the indicator does. Whenever I switch timeframes, for example, to, let's say, MRO, sorry, timeframes, if I change symbols, I should say, marathon oil, you may see that, hey, let's just see what happens once this is applied to the chart. We will see that, all right, now, oh, this is actually a nice one. Now the setup has changed and changed to a short bounce situation. Why is that? Well, now price is trading, you can see it here, nearby this resistance level, this green line here. And we may see some further downside action. Look at what happened with marathon oil. Up to resistance, we bounced off. Down to support, up to resistance, bounced off, bounced off, bounced off. This has been very sideways after a very bullish move prior to this, actually even before, if I scroll back further down. So this has been quite sideways, but respecting these levels quite nicely. And once again, here we are now in such a level where we are trading near resistance. And if I had to trade, if somebody asked me, Daniel, trade the symbol right now, well, I might trade, obviously, just by looking at the past and what patterns we could see here, another move to the short side, maybe in the books. Yeah, this is exactly how you could trade with these levels, and the indicator will tell you what these levels are, and it will also tell you what is the current setup at play. All right, so one more thing, let me switch it over to Amazon. So Amazon now on the daily time frame, because I have to spell it correctly. There we go, Amazon. Okay, so what do we have for Amazon? Amazon now is trading. Actually, here I want to show you something else real quick. Now, Amazon is trading, you can see it here very nicely, right at this resistance level, which was prior to this broken. You can see Amazon broke resistance just at this level here. It went all the way up. Actually, let me change this to, and this is fine. It went all the way up, but then retraced. Not sure what happened here in this, why this gap down, but retraced back to this resistance level, which is now acting as support. And the indicator shows you, hey, this setup is a long break retrace setup. Remember at the beginning when we discussed these high reward and low risk setups? This is exactly one of them. Yeah, price broke above resistance, now retraced back to it, and we may see another bullish move following this because this will act as support. And this is high reward because our stop loss would just be below this, and the anticipated target, I guess, would be all-time highs in Amazon. And you may wonder, where should I place my stop? Where should I put my target? Well, the indicator will actually help you with this as well. So once again, to my settings, and then we go back to the slides. I'm going to answer some questions. Let me enable these two things, show long target and show short stop loss. Show stop loss long, sorry. Once done, the indicator will recalculate and it will show you directly in the chart, hey, place your stop loss directly below this resistance level, which is now acting as support at this level here, 196.08. And you target just near these all-time highs at 214.44. And if you did, you would have an exact 2-to-1 reward to risk ratio, because your stop loss is 3% away and your target would be 6% from current price. If you do the math, that's around 2, a factor of 2. And the indicator will help you with this as well. And I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to enable our MA Rush indicator. And you can see that our sentiment indicator, just go back here, is bullish. It's been bullish for a long, long time, since August, or the end of August. And this is the exact kind of confluence we are looking for. Here we have a very interesting setup with a great reward to risk ratio. We are at a key support level and our indicator is bullish, confirming the direction we want to trade in. And if these come together, if everything lines up, to me, this is basically when the stars align, and this gives me confidence to enter into a trade. Of course, since our target is 2 times further away than our stop loss, this is still kind of a risky trade, because we kind of want to nail down the level where Amazon really retraces to. But if we are right, we're going to stand to gain 2 times as much as we could lose. And if you get stopped out, well, then we can try again. It only takes 1 winner and 2 losers to at least break even. All right, so quickly back to my slides, if I can find them. Nope. Oh, this is David. 1 second. All right, there we go. So back to my charts, back to our slides. And what we saw right now, just to recap a little bit, we saw our liquidity IQ indicator, which does this instant technical analysis of your price chart. It shows you directly on the chart where are key resistance and key support levels. It also does something which allows you to find out these levels from a higher time frame than your chart time frame, which simplifies your life. And it annotates your chart with key events and even tells you what is the setup at play. Then we saw our MA Rush indicator, a sentiment indicator, which will tell you directly on your price chart, is the sentiment, is the trend currently bearish or bullish? And the way the indicator does this, it uses a very conservative approach to that, meaning it doesn't change its mind, of course, in quotes, its mind, all the time. These labels typically don't alternate too many times. The indicator really tries to stay within its mindset for as long as possible. And only once, it's clear that momentum has changed, it will give you a signal in the opposite direction. And you can use this indicator to confirm your trading decision, or perhaps to disqualify a trade that you have in mind. And sometimes, not taking a trade is the best trade advice that you can get. All right. Actually, some of our traders, they automated just these signals using NinjaTrader. And just by trading along these signals, basically going short when it says bear, then reversing your position when it goes bull, and then reversing again, you can actually be quite profitable just following these signals as well. So this is also a possibility. All right. And together, as mentioned, these indicators really work nicely. And we call this the dynamic duo, because MA Rush can confirm whatever setup you may have in mind with Liquidity IQ. All right. So just because I saw some questions about this, you're wondering, are these indicators only available for TradingView? No, we actually have them for many different platforms. We just have chosen TradingView today because it's the most common platform. Chances are most of you have heard or used TradingView before. This is why we've used TradingView today as the sample platform, but we have these indicators available also for NinjaTrader, for Modifway, for MT4, MetaTrader 4, and MetaTrader 5, and also Thinkorswim. All right. So before we get to your questions, and we're going to look at some more symbols, let me explain to you how you can get hold of these indicators, because we've put something very special together for you. We call this the Liquidity IQ Super Special. All right. So what does this special entail? Well, first off, it includes our Liquidity IQ indicator. Normally, we offer it for 1,297. Today, you'll get the special for a much lower price. And this is for life. So you have the indicator forever for as long as you want to keep it. So there are no other payments required. So this is what you're going to get. And but we're also going to throw in 6 bonus offers. And bonus offer number 1 is going to be our MA Rush indicator, the sentiment indicator, which shows you, hey, is the trend bullish or bearish right now? What's the current sentiment all about? Also for live. Bonus number 2 is an exclusive invitation to our next live trading workshop, which will already take place on Wednesday, this Wednesday at 9 a.m. And we are going to use these 2 indicators, Liquidity IQ and MA Rush, to live trade the market open. So we're going to put our money where our mouth is, and we're going to live trade using our own indicators with our own real account. And you guys can follow along. So this, I think, is a very good opportunity to see how we use the indicators, what kind of setups we are waiting for, and when we pull the trigger and when we stay on the sidelines. All right, so this is going to be included. Bonus number 3 is an invitation to our weekly members-only live market sessions. So every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern, and of course, all of these are recorded. So every Tuesday, we go online and we discuss some of the latest developments here at Trading Indicators. We're going to look at some live market analysis. We answer lots of questions from our community and our members, and we show you tips and tricks related to our indicators, trading platforms, and whatever new developments that have happened in the last week or so. So you will be invited to these ones as well. And there are a couple of ebooks, which we're also going to include: how to trade with MA Rush, this extra indicator, how to trade using a magnet zone setup, which is a specific setup using Liquidity IQ, and how to use MA Rush and Liquidity IQ together. So you're going to get all this today. As a special thank you for being here with me. I know your time is precious, so thank you so much for taking time out of your busy lives to attend, and all this for $9.97 as a special price. And once again, this is for life. All right. If you want to take advantage of this offer, simply go to tradingindicators.com/IQ. And I believe David or Nicholas have also put this link into the chat box. So tradingindicators.com/IQ. All right. So with this, let's see if I can answer some questions. Nicholas, do we have some questions?
Yeah, Daniel, we had one question, actually 2, about chart types. So does this work on all chart types?
Yeah, the easy answer is yes, absolutely. So here today I showed regular candlestick charts on the 5-minute time frame and some other time frames, but it will also work on Heikin Nashi, on range bars, on Renko charts, or whatever obscure chart type you may be using. Yes, no problem whatsoever.
Perfect. And we also had a question, well, a chart request, if you're ready to do chart requests.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so yeah, we had NVIDIA earlier, and then we also got, let me check, PPC. I think it's a stock.
Yeah. Okay, let's check it out. So let me go to my charts here. I'm going to get back to the slides in a second. All right, so NVIDIA. Okay. NVIDIA has earnings coming out this week, I believe on Wednesday. Yeah, here. And people have high expectations of what might be happening there. So let's have a quick look. What's going on with NVIDIA? So here we are. I'm going to put this to actually the way I like to look at stocks, especially for swing trading. I like to open up the 4-hour chart and tune our Liquidity IQ indicator to use the daily chart. This gives me a bit more refined price action while still being able to see those levels. So it's recalculating. And once done, so I'm going to quickly also disable our stops and targets. Just give me 1 second so that we have a clean picture of what is going on. There we go. Okay. All right. So it's still loading. Once this is done recalculating, we will see a quick picture. Today, my computer is a little bit slow. It happens all the time when I share my screen on Zoom. But what can we see here? And before this, while this is loading, there we go. Okay. So yes, one thing that's clear is that NVIDIA just by looking at what's going on here. See this contested area around this resistance level? It's highly contested. I believe we are at a tipping point. And it can very well be, just by looking at this, that the earnings on Wednesday night when they come out will be the deciding factor as to which way NVIDIA will go. Of course, just by looking at MA-Rush, let me just quickly disable Liquidity IQ. MA-Rush is bullish. And here, a great example of how conservative this indicator is. Look, we had this bullish reading here. Price didn't turn up right away, even though we did have some bullish move before. No, it actually went downwards. But the indicator did not change its sentiment, rightfully so, because then price went up again. And this is what I meant, how conservative these readings are. They don't change their mind all the time. They stick with there. And oftentimes they know that's the right decision to do. You're just going to wait it out a little bit. Okay, well, let me go back to NVIDIA. Yeah, we are definitely at a tipping point. I'm certain price will move when the earnings come out. And if I had to pick a bias, it is more likely we're going to see a gap to the upside because we are bullish than to the downside. That would be my take on this. But there's, of course, no guarantee, especially in trading, there's no guarantee. And what might also be a possibility here, if you are an options trader and if option prices, I didn't look at the prices beforehand, option prices are still affordable prior to earnings, you might set up some kind of a strangle trade where you will gain to benefit if price moves up or price moves down as long as it moves. So that could be a possibility too, because one thing I'm certain of, price will not stay in this congested area. We're going to see some clarity either to the upside, which is my personal bias, or to the downside. And if we see a down gap, I think the next logical target for NVIDIA, if they fail expectations, would be here around the 100 level, which also happens to be a psychological level. So that's NVIDIA. What was the other symbol, Nicholas? Real quick.
PPC.
Okay, PPC. Pilgrim's Pride Corporation. All right, let's have a look here. All right, so MA-Rush is bullish. We can see it here right off the bat. So our bias would be to the long side. Oh, that's a cool one. This is actually a nice clean setup. What we see here, we did break resistance. When was it? Here on November 1st, at the beginning of this month. Price initially went up and then it retraced. And remember this setup, which I mentioned, which happens so oftentimes. We break resistance. It will now act as support, and the market tries to fake you out and goes all the way down to this broken resistance level, which is now acting as support, and then the move takes off. So to me, a very bullish setup. I would be surprised if we don't see further bullish action in the weeks to come. Once again, this is a swing trading setup. If you were to trade this, you would put your stop below this resistance level here, which was broken, and you target at least near the all-time highs, but perhaps even higher. All right. So
Daniel,
we have, yes.
We have another symbol request actually for
Go ahead.
TLT.
TLT, okay. All right, for the bonds. Okay. What do we see here? Once again, this is on a longer term time frame. All right. Yeah. Nice one. So this is, let me just see a little bit back. Yeah, I've been sideways swinging for a little bit. Price nicely bounced off this resistance level here. And now we are trading at this support level. The indicator actually shows you, hey, this is a long bounce setup. If you buy into the thesis that, hey, we're going to bounce off, MA-Rush is bearish, which is not the best indication for this. So MA-Rush, we'll see. So if we bounce off, we may as well see a price move all the way back up to this resistance zone here. If we break this level, the next logical target would be this one down here, not too far away at 87.36. You can see this support level here, or all the way down here, another support level at around 82.47. So for this one, I would stay on the sidelines. If we see evidence that we see this bounce, so I would play this conservatively from the support level. Yeah, this resistance level is in play. If we break through, the next logical target would be here. But I would wait until price clears this zone first. All
Cool.
right, so let me, yeah, Nicholas.
Oh yeah, sorry. We just had another question asking us to show a point and figure chart.
Okay,
And
we can do this maybe at the very end of
sure.
this, yeah, because I think that's a bit more obscure. Okay, so let me quickly reiterate the special offer because we have 5 more minutes left. So the special offer includes Liquidity IQ and all these bonuses. So let me quickly walk you through these bonuses. And of course, the link is tradingindicators.com/IQ. So what's in the package? You will get our Liquidity IQ indicator for life, which does this instant technical analysis of your price chart, which will show you these key resistance and support levels directly on your chart, along with some other important events. Now, what else you get? You also get our MA Rush indicator, the indicator which will show you these sentiment readings directly on your price chart. So whether a trend is currently bullish or bearish, and you've seen how conservative this indicator is. It doesn't change its mind all the time. It stick with it, and oftentimes that's the right decision to do. And also often in trading, if you zigzag all the time, that might be counterproductive. So you're going to get this indicator as well. Next, you will be invited to our exclusive members only live sessions. Every week these happen on Tuesdays at 12 p.m. Eastern. So the next one, of course, is tomorrow. Tomorrow's Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern. You will also be invited to our members only Discord channel. Oftentimes you can get your questions answered the fastest just by posing the question in our Discord channel. So this is also included. Then we will be invited to our next live trading workshop where we're going to use Liquidity IQ and MA Rush to day trade the market open this Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern. So we're going to put our money where our mouth is, and we're going to show you directly how we would trade the Wednesday's price action when the market opens at 9:30. So all this available at tradingindicators.com/IQ. And as mentioned, this is a limited time offer. You get all this for life for only $9.97. No further payments are required. All right. So we have, I guess, a few more minutes for questions. Nicholas, what was the question again?
We had a question, Daniel, about point and figures charts.
Yeah, I have to say, this is a chart type which I am not too familiar with. Let me just even see if I have this in my trading view here.
You do. And one thing I noticed about it, Daniel, is that it's not based on time. So if you're looking at a 4-hour chart, one bar might actually take up something like an entire year. But on this symbol TLT, if you hop over to the 30-minute chart and then put Liquidity IQ and MA Rush on the daily, you'll see that, yeah, it can be set to fit. Yeah.
Okay. This is some live tweaking. Thanks, Nicholas, for looking this up for us. So this is not something we typically trade, but let me just hop over here to point and figure. Oh boy. I don't actually have it. We do have we use multiple trading view accounts in our business here. But you know what, Nicholas? Maybe I will take this one away. So whoever had this question, please send me a quick email. I will send you a couple of screenshots afterwards because I think that's a bit too obscure to cover right now. Yeah. Oh, actually, it does work. Maybe this is the right chart. Okay, whatever it is. Let me quickly just fix this real quick. There we go. All right. So we do see MA Rush doing its magic here. And I have to say, I'm not familiar with this chart type at all. But yeah, it seems to be definitely levels are printed with these setups at the same time. Yeah, so you get some readings, but what are the best settings to really hone into? Oh, I guess I need to order the 30-minute chart too. That was the... now I understand what it means. So I can do intraday intervals only with a premium trading view account, which we do have, just not on this particular version of trading view. All right. Anyways, back to my the final slide. So here's the offer again, tradingindicators.com/IQ. And if there are any questions left out today, we did our best to address most of them. You can always reach out to us at tradingindicators.com. Go to our homepage, click on the main menu, click on contact. This will open up a contact form. And then please, enter your question there. It will go straight to my inbox, and I will make sure to answer all your questions as soon as possible. Perfect. So with that, guys, I think my time is up, more or less. David, do you want to see any last minute words?